people of Bhopal, capital town of the Indian state Madhya Pradesh, were sleeping through a cold intervening night on 2nd and 3rd December 1984. Nothing was out of the ordinary, and the night seemed like any other silent shivering winter night. But that was only superficial. Somewhere in the eastern part of the city, something nightmarish was happening inside a pesticide plant of the Union Carbide India Limited, or UCIL. An industrial disaster of incomparable magnitude was about to happen. The UCIL plant was established in 1969. 51% was owned by the Union Carbide Corporation, or the UCC, and 49% by the Indian authorities. The factory used to produce a pesticide, which UCIL had branded as 7. A chemical called methyl isocyanate, or MIC, was used for producing this pesticide. Therefore, the factory stored a large amount of MIC inside its premises. On that fateful night, on December 2, 1984, it was a routine day at the UCIL factory in Bhopal. MIC was stored in the underground tank. The pipeline washing started at 9:30 p.m. as a routine maintenance operation. Between 10:30 and 11 p.m., workers engaged in the pipeline washing became aware of a leak. Little attention was paid considering it a normal leak. A casual attempt was made to trace the source of the leak, but of no use. The leak continued. Around 12:15 a.m., the pressure in the MIC tank rocketed up to 55 pounds per square inches. Water had begun to leak into the tank E610 containing 42 tons of MIC. The resulting exothermic reaction increased the temperature inside the tank to over 200 degrees Celsius. An operator saw the concrete above the tank was cracking. About 12:30 a.m., the relief valve of the tank gave away, and large quantities of MIC gas leaked into the atmosphere. The workers at the factory realized the risk of a massive disaster. They tried activating the safety systems available at the factory. There were 3 safety systems. First was the vent gas scrubber, which was considered the main line of defense. It was found that it wasn't in operational condition. Then the workers tried turning on the flare tower to burn off the toxic gas. This system was not in a working condition, as the piece of pipeline leading to the tower had been removed for maintenance. The workers then tried transferring the MIC from the tank into a nearby spare tank. The gauge of the spare tank indicated that the tank already contained something. This gauge indicator was found defective later on. After failure in all 3 safety systems, the workers attempted to douse the leaking gas with a water spray. The water spray reached a height of 100 feet from the ground, while the leak was at 120 feet above the ground. At 1 a.m., the workers realized nothing could be done to stop the leak. Thousands of people living around the plant were awakened by suffocating, burning effects of the gas. As on the 3 sides, the UCIL plant was surrounded by slums and other poor settlements. The people living in these colonies were the worst sufferers. There was no warning or guidance to the general public around this time. There were 2 types of alarms in the factory. One mild siren for the workers and one loud public siren. The public siren was started only at about 2:30 a.m. and since the gas leaked from a 30-meter chimney, it wasn't high enough for the people to escape the effects. It was not long before the entire city was enveloped by an invisible but extremely toxic gas. People of Bhopal began to feel the effects of toxin. People who were laying cozily inside the duvets a few minutes ago, they now began to feel suffocation, cough, burning eyes, and vomiting. Streets began crowded with people running here and there for help. The chaos went on through the night. Local hospitals was soon overwhelmed with the injured, a crisis further compounded by a lack of knowledge of exactly what gas was involved and what its effects were. Within hours, the streets of Bhopal were littered with human corpses and the carcasses of buffaloes, cows, dogs and birds. About 3,000 people died immediately on that night. Another 8,000 died in the next 1 week. Yet another 15 to 20,000 people died over a longer period of time due to the effects of the poisonous gas. Still, about 500,000 people were directly or indirectly affected, with 38,000 temporary partial and roughly 3,900 permanently disabling injuries. Investigations into the tragedy show that there were many shortcomings at all levels. The Union Carbide factory did not have much information about the safe storage of these highly toxic gases. The medical fraternity did not have the requisite know-how to deal with such kind of contamination and at this scale. There was also a lack of coordination between the factory and the emergency services. There were not many trained professionals in that factory. Cost cutting had also had its impact on the safety of the plant, its employees and the people living around the plant. The plant was also in a densely populated area of the city, which went against most known norms. There have been several theories on the reason for the entry of water into the tank. The workers claim that because of the bad maintenance with leaking valves, it was possible for water to climb from the point where the pipeline washing was performed to tank 610, while UCC says that this was not possible and that it was an act of sabotage by a disgruntled worker who introduced water directly into the tank, although there has never been any proof of this. The two most important factors leading to the mega gas leak were the plant design and the economic pressure and the cutting back on. There were early warning signs of trouble ahead, signs that may have been ignored. On December 25, 1981, a leak of phosgene killed one worker at the plant and severely injured two others. On January 9, 1982, 25 workers were hospitalized as a result of another leak at the plant. During the safety week proposed by the management to address worker grievances about the Bhopal facility, repeated incidents of such toxic leakage took place, and the workers took the opportunity to complain directly to the American management officials. In the wake of these incidents, workers at the plant demanded hazardous duty pay scales, commensurate with the fact that they were required to handle hazardous substances. These requests were denied. As a result, it led to the worst industrial disaster of all time. On December 7, 1984, Warren Anderson, the CEO of Union Carbide, was arrested in Bhopal, but later released on bail. In December 1987, the Central Bureau of Investigation filed a charge sheet against Anderson and other accused. In 2003, the Ministry of External Affairs sent a request to United States for Anderson's extradition. However, this and further requests were turned down. In June 2010, 7 ex-employees, including the former UCIL chairman, were convicted in Bhopal of causing death by negligence and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. An 8th former employee was also convicted, but died before the judgment was passed. A compensation of nearly $470 million was paid by the Union Carbide to the Government of India, but legal delays, including identifying the victims, slowed the payout rate to a crawl. The only memorial ever built in Bhopal was privately funded, designed by the daughter of Holocaust victims. In bold letters, the inscription reads, "No Hiroshima, no Bhopal. We want to live." Many years down the road, after the Bhopal disaster in 1984, some basic cleanup efforts have taken place, but a lot of contamination is still there, and the local people have to live with this environmental pollution every single day. More than 100,000 people are still suffering from the debilitating effect of the gas, which includes respiratory problems, cancer, congenital birth defects, blindness, and many other diseases. Every year since then, more are still dying in Bhopal from the very.
Video ini mengisahkan tentang tragedi Bhopal yang berlaku di Bhopal akibat kebocoran gas sianida. Kebocoran gas ini berpunca daripada sebuah kilang racun serangga yang berdaftar sebagai Union Carbide. Tragedi ini telah dispekulasikan berlaku apabila sumber air dengan secara tidak sengaja bercampur dengan meta-asiosianat dan menghasilkan gas sianida. Kebocoran gas ini pada malam tersebut sahaja dikatakan membunuh 3,000 warga Bhopal dan 8,000 warga Bhopal dalam masa seminggu. Bukan itu sahaja, kesan daripada tragedi ini juga menyebabkan berlakunya kecacatan fizikal dalam kalangan rakyat Bhopal. Seterusnya, tragedi ini juga menyebabkan anak-anak rakyat Bhopal dilahirkan dengan kecacatan. Hasil penyiasatan mendedahkan bahawa kebocoran ini berlaku apabila kurangnya tenaga profesional yang bekerja di dalam kilang tersebut. Hal ini kemudian menjuruskan kepada berlakunya kececuaian yang mengakibatkan tragedi ini berlaku. Walaupun tragedi ini berlaku lebih 30 tahun dahulu, penyelidikan menunjukkan bahawa terdapat kemungkinan sisa-sisa toksik daripada gas sianida tersebut masih wujud dalam tanah dan sumber air warga Bhopal.